Hey, what's going on, nicotine fiends? Long time no see. But we're back again with another cigar review brought to you guys by Don't Inhale. In this smoke session, I'm going to be talking about the Padron PB97 in the Maduro. So a little, you guys know, I like to just give you guys this grade right off the bat to keep the suspense from, building. Overall, I gave the cigar a 6 out of 10. It might be a shocker to a lot of y'all because I know a lot of blogs and cigar content creators, they have said that, this cigar is one of their favorites of all time. Well, not of all time, but one of the best cigars of 2024. But yeah, I don't know. I got the cigar. Got it from Tampa, Florida, down at Corona Cigar Company. I let it rest for about 2 months in my Tupperware at 65 relative humidity and about 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Took it out, smoked it, and yeah, for $40, did not meet the expectation that I was expecting. So a little backstory on the Padron Black series. So the series was first released in 2016 to commemorate Jose O. Padron's 89th birthday. And it was originally released as also a pair of Natural and Maduro cigars. It was released for a cigar shop, I believe, down in Florida called the Cigar Inn, I think, and it was only released exclusively to TAA retail members. But about, I think 2 years later, they released it again, and it was only released in Cigar Rights of America sampler packs. And the Cigar Rights of America, they released those sampler packs in order to raise funds to fight against those FDA lawsuits that try to ban, cigars and tobacco products in America. But then in 2023 at the PCA show, Padron for the first time offered their Black Series outside of the sampler packs, and retailers that attended the convention or the trade show was able to order these cigars for their storefront. And if you guys noticed the Padron Black, the bands, funny enough, even though these are more premium cigars, they basically kept the same bands as the Padron 1000 series, but they just made the color black. And if you guys don't know, the backstory of Padron is he came to, I believe it was Miami, back in, I want to say it was the 50s or 60s. And at the time, he was a carpenter. And that's why you guys would see on the Padron boxes, you guys would see the hammer on there. That's just an ode to his days working as a carpenter. He was only making about, I think $60, every day. And it was also off of government assistance money, if I'm getting the, story about him correct. But you guys can go search it up. And he worked as a carpenter, saved up enough money, and started his cigar business, empire today that it is, But yeah, enough of the backstory and all of that. Let's get into, the nitty gritty of this cigar. So this is a Nicaraguan puro. For those who don't know, a puro just means wrapper, binder, filler, are all Nicaraguan tobacco. It is a 6 3/4 by 54 ring gauge cigar. So right off the bat, the texture of the cigar, it was very tactile. There was toothiness, a slight oil shine, and it was, one of those cigars, when I hold it in my hand, I know that it's a nice, dense pack to it, really good construction, right? The smell of it, on the wrapper, I got this funky, woody smell on the wrapper. And then on the foot of the cigar, it was just that signature, Nicaraguan barnyard tobacco smell on it. And I did a cold draw after cutting it, and I got this sweet hay with an undertone of spicy meatiness. So on the initial combustion, I got a charred meatiness, like barbecue meatiness with a dark fudge brownie undertone, and there was a slight cinnamon spice finish to it. Out the retrohale on the initial combustion, I got a strong black pepper spice with a syrupy mocha undertone. So on the first third of the cigar, I got this vanilla bean coffee with a cola profile finish. Out the retrohale, I got a black pepper spice with a cocoa powder finish. There was, someone is, out there, revving their engine at almost 8 p.m. here. But on that first third, it was a good burn line, but the draw was definitely a little tight. Like I definitely had to work a lot to get a good smoke production out of the cigar. On the second third of the cigar, on the palate, I got a cocoa oatmeal with coffee grounds and some earthy tones. Out the retrohale, it was a strong black pepper spice with a slight syrup undertone. There was some almond notes to the finish as well. The burn was still good, and the draw started to open up on the second third. And on the final third, I got a weak orange sorbet. It was like a citrusy creaminess to it. So it's like an orange sorbet to me with a coffee grounds finish, which brought on like a bitter, that bitter tone. Out the retrohale, I got again that bitter coffee grounds with a creamy almond undertone slightly. And there was a minimal floral spice. I would say overall the body is medium plus. Strength is also medium plus. Flavor. So I would give the flavor for this cigar, it was a 6 out of 10, to be honest, because while there were good undertones and background notes, the main flavors of that coffee ground and just that black pepper spice, it was just not something that's enjoyable, if the undertones were at the forefront, I feel like the flavor profile score that I would give this cigar would go up. Construction, I gave it a 7 out of 10. It lost points due to the tight draw through the first third, and then it started to open up towards the end of the second third. The price, $40 MSRP for this cigar. For $40, I definitely had, higher expectations because there are cigars that are a quarter, half of the price that can outsmoke this cigar to me. And for that reason, for $40, I think of other $40 cigars too, right? And I just think that this one falls average in the pack, like it's right in the middle. It's not a terrible $40 cigar, but it's also not in the upper echelon of a $40 cigar. So it's just right in the middle. Yeah, so that brought the overall score to an 18/30, which is a 6 out of 10 for me. But again, guys, this is just my opinion, and that was one cigar out of a whole batch of cigars they made. Maybe I just got a bad one. Who knows? But you guys try it and let me know. The time that it took for me to smoke this cigar was about 2 hours. So if you're going to smoke this cigar, have that in mind and be prepared for that as well. But yeah, there you guys have it. This has been a review of the Padron PB97 Maduro. And, go enjoy your cigar and keep them burning, but don't inhale.